Konnichiwa, hello, and welcome to Japanese 101. As you have already been told by your instructor, the purpose of this video is to teach the basics of the language, writing system, and culture of Japan, land of the rising sun. There is so much to see and do in this wonderful country, but unless you want to feel like an even bigger fish out of water, you should first become familiar with the language in order to communicate with others and make your experience more enjoyable. The first step to learning Japanese is understanding the basic pronunciation of the words. Speaking properly is very important in Japan because many of the words sound the same, and the last thing you want to do is be misinterpreted in a foreign country. For example, kawaii is a common word used to mean cute or adorable. However, kawaii, without the extra I, means pitiful or sad, and it is pronounced differently. So obviously, even one sound difference can turn someone from cute to pitiful. Japanese has the exact same 5 vowels as the English language. They, however, are pronounced like the vowels of the Spanish language. A, I, U, E, and O. Consonants are almost always combined with the vowels to create sounds, and most are pronounced as they are in English. For example, the G sound in G and the A sound in A combine to make ga. Here is a basic Japanese syllable table. There are more complicated ones, but we won't get into those this lesson. Practice saying these syllables. Remember, they really help you not to make any embarrassing mistakes. Also notice the changes in red. They indicate changes in sound uncommon to that particular letter's pattern. Japanese words are in most cases a combination of sounds created by the syllables, such as arigato, which is of course a combination of the sounds a, ri, ga, and to. Vocabulary is very important, and this course may give you a few basic words and phrases, but you will need to keep a dictionary handy and participate in as many conversations as possible to understand what these words mean to the Japanese. But wait! Before you go joining in on a Japanese conversation with random vocabulary, the basic sentence structure may be important. In contrast to English sentence structure, which follows subject, verb, object, Japanese sentences follow subject, object, verb, and have particles suffixed to the words they modify. For example, in Japanese, "this is the apple" translates to "kore wa ringo desu." The underlined wa is followed by the description or comment about the subject or topic. Here is a bit of information about the nouns and verbs of the Japanese language. There is no Japanese equivalent of a, an, or the, and most nouns have no plural form except for those referring to people. For example, dog and dogs are the same word, inu. There is also only one form for all pronouns. For nouns referring to people, the suffix tach may be used to indicate the plural. For example, the plural form of kodomo, the Japanese word for child, would be kodomo tach, not pronouncing the I at the end. For two nouns used together as a compound noun, they are joined by the particle no. For example, apartment building would be apato no biru. Personal pronouns are the only real nouns that change when they are plural. There are dozens of other variations of pronouns depending on the situation. Be sure that when you further your study of Japanese nouns, you include indefinitive pronouns and the many varying roles of the personal pronouns. All Japanese verbs end in "u." Well, to be more specific, the last syllable of the word ends in "u." For example, the word asobu, which means to play, ends in "bu." There are three types of verbs in Japanese: yodan verbs, ichidan verbs, and the irregular verbs. Here is a list of common yodan verbs, such as kau, which means to buy, or kasu, to lend. Ichidan verbs all end in either eru or iru. Some frequently used words are taberu, to eat, or miru, to look. Here is a list of the basic conjugations of yodan verbs in both plain and polite form, where the end "u" is dropped and replaced by suffixes appropriate for the situation. This same rule applies for ichidan verbs, except the "ru" they end in is replaced. In this example, the endings of the verb kaku, which means to write, are changed based on past and present tense. There are various connectors for the many different sentences out there, but we will only get into about 4 of the 41 commonly used particles. As you further your knowledge of the different Japanese sentences, you will also further your knowledge of the particles that connect them. Wa, as you have already been told, is a particle indicating the subject of a sentence. Another essential part of most sentences is the word des, which is pronounced without the "u." Des is the Japanese equivalent of is, am, or are. It is used in many basic sentences and phrases. Ka is the question indicating particle. To turn any sentence into a question, you simply add ka to the end of it. You don't have to change any other part of the sentence, such as the statement "Kanojo wa Kanadajin desu," which in English translates to "she is Canadian." However, to turn the statement into a question, you would say "Kanojo wa Kanadajin desu ka?" Understand? Since there is no Japanese equivalent of a, an, or the object indicating particle o is used for the noun followed by the action of the sentence. So the statement "I buy a book" would just be the object hon, the particle o, and the conjugated verb kaimasu. To is the particle that connects 2 or more words or parts of a sentence together, such as ino to neko, dogs and cats, or kare to watashi, he and the female version of I. Here are some basic Japanese phrases, courtesy of Kids Web Japan, that you can use until you are comfortable enough to form your own sentences.
こんにちは。お元気ですか？
元気です。すみません。いいえ。
西、
どうぞ。ありがとう。ど
好き？
ういたしまして。じゃあね。
バイバイ。また明日。暑い。
いただきます。
いくらですか
500円です。
はじめまして。どうぞよろしく。よろしくお願いします。